Park Du-han was drinking his morning coffee when the aliens landed. He wasn't supposed to be Earth's first contact with alien life. That job belonged to someone with more impressive titles. But fate had other plans that day. The ships came down in perfect formation over Seoul. They were beautiful, like silver tears falling from the sky. 3 of them, each as big as a football field, hovering silently above the city. Du-han watched them from his office window in the Foreign Ministry building, his coffee forgotten and cold. "Sir," his assistant called from the doorway, "the president is asking for you." Within an hour, Du-han found himself sitting in a room with the first aliens humanity had ever met. They were tall, with blue-tinted skin and 4 arms each. They wore what looked like spacesuits, though Du-han would later learn these were actually protective suits against Earth's harsh environment. The alien leader, who introduced himself as the Galactic Council's chief ambassador, spoke through a translation device. "We are concerned," he said, looking at the readings on a small device. "Your world, it should not support intelligent life. The gravity, the atmospheric pressure, the radiation levels, the bacterial presence. This is a Class 12 Deathworld." Du-han smiled politely. "Would you like some tea?" The aliens looked at each other in confusion. The chief ambassador checked his readings again. "The liquid you offer, it contains theobromine and caffeine. These are deadly toxins." "To you, perhaps," Du-han said, taking a sip of his tea. "To us, it's breakfast." The aliens stepped back. One of them spoke quietly to another. They consumed toxins for pleasure. Kim Hyri, who had been quietly observing from her corner of the room, stepped forward. As Earth's leading xenobiologist, she had prepared for this moment her whole life. "What my colleague means to say is that our species has adapted to Earth's conditions over millions of years. What you see as harsh, we see as home." The aliens were fascinated. They asked question after question. How did humans deal with the constant bacterial attacks? How did they survive in such high gravity? Why didn't the atmospheric pressure crush their bodies? Du-han and Hyri answered each question patiently. They explained about immune systems, about bones that grew stronger under pressure, about bodies that could sweat to cool down. With each answer, the aliens' fear turned to curiosity. "But surely," the chief ambassador said, "such conditions must make your people fierce warriors. Your history must be full of constant battles for resources." Du-han pulled out his phone, another thing that amazed the aliens, and showed them pictures of children playing in parks, of people having picnics, of crowds enjoying music festivals. "We had our wars," he admitted, "but we learned that working together helps us survive better than fighting each other. When your world tries to kill you every day, you learn to value life more, not less." The meeting lasted hours. By the end, the aliens had forgotten their protective postures. They leaned forward in their seats, eagerly asking about human art, music, and culture. When Du-han mentioned that humans spent a third of their time in a death-like state called sleep, one of the aliens actually fell off their chair in shock. As the aliens prepared to leave, the chief ambassador turned to Du-han. "We came expecting to find savage creatures hardened by an impossible world. Instead, we found teachers. The Galactic Council will be very interested in learning how you not only survived but thrived in such conditions." Du-han smiled again. "We would be happy to teach and to learn. Perhaps next time, you might try the tea." The chief ambassador's translator crackled with what might have been laughter. "Perhaps, though we shall start with something less deadly." As the alien ships rose back into the sky, Du-han and Hyri stood watching from the window. "They think we're amazing," Hyri said, "just for living our normal lives." "Yes," Du-han replied, finally drinking his cold coffee. "And that might be the most powerful advantage we could have asked for." Lee Jinwoo never meant to start a galactic food revolution. He just wanted to run his small restaurant in Seoul, serving the same dishes his grandmother had taught him to make. But when the aliens came, everything changed. It started with a dare. 3 months after first contact, a group of alien diplomats visited his restaurant. They were curious about human food, though their protective suits meant they couldn't actually eat anything. One of them, watching Jin-Woo cook, commented that the spices he used would be considered chemical weapons on their world. "But how do you know if you've never tried them?" Jin-Woo asked, stirring a pot of his famous kimchi stew. The aliens looked at each other. Their environmental scientist ran some tests and declared that with some modifications, they might safely try a very small amount of human food. Jin-Woo spent all night working with their scientist, adjusting recipes to alien biology. The next day, in a specially prepared clean room, 5 alien diplomats sat down to the first human meal ever served to non-Earth species. Jin-Woo had prepared a simple soup, using only 1% of his usual spices. The aliens took their first taste. Their eyes grew wide. Their skin changed color. For a moment, Jin-Woo worried he had poisoned them all. Then they asked for more. Word spread quickly through the alien diplomatic community. Soon, Jin-Woo's restaurant had a waiting list 6 months long. Alien food critics, protected by special suits, traveled from across the galaxy to try what they called the deadliest delicacies in known space. Park Do-han, watching the phenomenon grow, had an idea. He worked with Jin-Woo to open restaurants on other worlds, teaching alien chefs how to safely prepare human foods. They started with simple dishes, mild soups, gentle seasonings, small portions. The aliens couldn't get enough. What humans considered bland, they found explosively flavorful. What humans saw as mild heat, they experienced as thrilling danger. Eating human food became the ultimate adventure sport among wealthy aliens. "It's like skydiving for your tongue," one alien food critic wrote, "a controlled brush with death that leaves you forever changed." Jin-Woo found himself teaching cooking classes to alien chefs. He had to explain basic concepts humans took for granted. Why did they add salt to food? Why did they cook with fire? Why did they use plants that caused pain, spices, to make food taste better? Each answer fascinated his students more. When he explained that humans had learned to cook to make food safe to eat, the aliens were shocked. When he described how spices had been used to preserve food, they took notes frantically. One day, Jin-Woo received an unusual request. The leader of a powerful alien trade federation wanted him to cater a diplomatic dinner. The federation was trying to negotiate a difficult trade agreement with another species. Nothing had worked so far. Jin-Woo prepared a special menu, carefully adjusted for each species' biology. As the aliens sat together, sharing the thrill of trying human food, their negotiations took a different turn. By dessert, they had reached an agreement. Soon, diplomatic dinners featuring human cuisine became common across the galaxy. Alien leaders found that sharing the exciting experience of eating Deathworld food created bonds that normal meetings couldn't match. "Food brings people together," Jin-Woo explained to a reporter. "That's true on Earth, and it's true in space too." Back in his kitchen in Seoul, Jin-Woo kept cooking. His restaurant now had 2 sections, one for humans and one for aliens. He enjoyed watching both sides eye each other's dishes with curiosity. "What are they eating?" a human customer asked, pointing at an alien enjoying what looked like glowing blue crystals. "Something that would freeze your blood solid," Jin-Woo replied with a smile. "Just like this kimchi would melt their bones. But look, we're all here, eating together. That's what matters." Yoon Hannah sat in her office, surrounded by screens showing Earth's movies, games, and TV shows. As the head of Earth's cultural exchange program, she had a strange job: explaining human imagination to aliens. "So none of this is real?" asked the alien entertainment executive sitting across from her desk. His name was impossible for humans to pronounce, so he went by Blue, due to his bright blue scales. "No," Hannah explained, playing a clip from a popular fantasy show. "We make these stories up. The dragons, the magic, the imaginary worlds. We create them for fun. Blue's scales shifted color in confusion. But why would you imagine things that could kill you? Your world is already dangerous enough. Hannah smiled. She had heard this question many times before. Maybe that's exactly why we do it. When you live on a death world, you learn to face your fears by talking about them. The first human entertainment program to become a hit across the galaxy was a simple cooking show. Aliens couldn't believe that humans would willingly set things on fire to prepare food. They watched in fascination as chefs used sharp knives, hot flames, and what they considered deadly spices. But it was human fiction that really caught their attention. Most alien species had entertainment, but it was always based on real things. The idea of making up completely new stories was shocking to them. Hannah worked with her team to translate and adapt human movies and shows for alien viewers. They had to add many notes explaining basic things. Why humans slept in beds. They needed to be unconscious for 8 hours every day. Why they wore different clothes for different weather. Their bodies couldn't regulate temperature well. And why they laughed at danger. It helped them cope with living on a death world. Action movies became huge hits, though aliens watched them more like horror films. You mean humans really can survive falling from such heights? They asked. And your bones can heal after breaking. But the biggest surprise was how popular human children's cartoons became. Alien children were fascinated by talking animals, magical adventures, and silly jokes. Their parents worried at first, but soon noticed their children becoming more creative and adaptable after watching human shows. One day, Hannah received an urgent call. A group of young aliens had been caught doing something unprecedented. They were playing pretend. They had made up an imaginary story and were acting it out, just like human children did. Some parents were worried, but others saw it as a sign of positive change. Your stories are teaching our children to think in new ways, Blue told Hannah during another meeting. They're learning to solve problems differently, to imagine solutions we never would have thought of. The biggest breakthrough came when Hannah's team introduced virtual reality games to the galactic market. Aliens were amazed the humans had created technology to experience made-up worlds. Soon, VR centers opened across the galaxy, letting aliens safely experience what it was like to live on Earth. It's terrifying but exciting, one alien teenager told a news channel. In the VR, I can try being human for a little while. I can feel what it's like to be strong enough to survive on a death world. Hannah's favorite moment came during a galactic cultural festival. She watched as alien children played with human children, all of them pretending to be space explorers. The alien parents watched nervously at first, but soon relaxed as they saw their children laughing and making up stories together. Entertainment isn't just about fun, Hannah explained to a group of alien cultural ministers. It's about sharing experiences, understanding each other, and learning to see the world in different ways. Even if that world is trying to kill you. One minister asked. Especially then, Hannah replied with a smile. After all, the best stories are about overcoming challenges. And who knows more about that than humans? Kim Hyrie stared at her microscope in amazement. What started as a simple blood test had turned into the biggest discovery in galactic medical history. Can you explain it again? Asked the alien doctor beside her. He belonged to a species that looked like tall, thin humans with silver skin. You're saying your bodies fight diseases by themselves? Hyrie nodded, pointing to the screen showing human blood cells. We call it an immune system. Our bodies learn from every disease they fight. They remember how to beat it next time. The alien doctor, who went by Dr. Silver, shook his head in wonder. No wonder you can survive on Earth. Your bodies are like tiny armies. It had started 3 months ago when an alien child got sick with a common space illness. Nothing in the galaxy's advanced medicine worked. The child's people, who came from a world with no harmful bacteria, had never developed natural defenses. Hyrie had a simple idea. What if they could teach the alien's body to fight back, just like human bodies did? She worked day and night in her lab. She studied how human immune systems worked and found ways to copy this system for alien biology. It wasn't easy. Many times she thought she had failed. Then came the breakthrough. "Look at this," she told Dr. Silver, showing him a new slide. "We took the way human bodies fight disease and changed it to work in alien bodies. It's like giving them a tiny version of our immune system." The treatment worked. The alien child got better in just 3 days. Soon, Hyree's lab was flooded with requests from across the galaxy. But that was just the beginning. As she studied alien biology, Hyree made more discoveries. Humans had other amazing abilities that aliens lacked. Bones that could heal themselves, skin that could repair cuts, muscles that grew stronger with use. "Your bodies are incredible machines," Dr. Silver said one day, watching Hyree exercise in the lab's gym. "You break them down on purpose, and they come back stronger." Hyree wiped her sweat away. "That's how we survived Earth. Our bodies had to become good at fixing themselves." Word spread quickly through the galaxy. Soon, alien doctors came from everywhere to learn from Hyree. They were amazed by things humans thought were normal. How human children got stronger as they grew up, how people could learn to live in different climates, how the body could fight off thousands of different germs. One day, an alien leader visited Hyree's lab. His people lived on space stations because their immune systems were too weak for planet life. "Can you help us?" he asked. "We dream of living on worlds like our ancestors did." Hyree and her team worked for months. They studied how human bodies adapted to new environments. They learned how to copy these abilities and give them to other species. It worked better than anyone expected. Soon, species that had been stuck in space for generations could live on planets again. They couldn't handle worlds as tough as Earth, but they could survive on gentler planets. "You've given us freedom," the alien leader told Hyree, standing on his people's new colony world. "We thought Earth was a nightmare world. Now we know it made you strong enough to help everyone else." Back in her lab, Hyree made another discovery. The aliens who received human-like immune systems weren't just healthier. Their children were being born stronger, better able to handle tough conditions. "Life finds a way," she told Dr. Silver, who had become her close friend. "Earth taught humans that lesson. Now we can teach it to the galaxy." Dr. Silver looked at a picture of Earth hanging on the lab wall. "A death world that creates life-saving gifts," he said. "The galaxy will never be the same." Hyree smiled, starting another experiment. "That's the thing about living on a tough world," she said. "You learn that the hardest challenges often lead to the best solutions." Kang Tae-sung walked through the dome of the failing colony world, looking at the dying plants. The aliens had tried everything to make this planet livable, but nothing worked. They were about to give up on their 5th failed colony attempt. "The soil is too acidic," the colony leader explained. "Nothing grows. We've used our best technology, but the planet fights us at every step." Tae-sung picked up a handful of dirt and smiled. "On Earth, we have places like this. We call them volcanic regions. Let me show you something." As Earth's best terraforming expert, Tae-sung had learned his skills in the hardest school possible, Earth's most damaged environments. He had restored polluted rivers, brought life back to dead soil, and turned deserts green. "Your mistake," he told the aliens, "is trying to force the planet to change. We need to work with what's already here." Instead of fighting the acidic soil, Tae-sung introduced earth plants that loved acid conditions. He brought in special bacteria that could live in tough environments. He showed the aliens how to use Earth's ancient farming techniques. Within 3 months, the first crops appeared. They weren't the fancy food the aliens usually grew, but they were healthy and strong. The aliens were amazed. "But these are Deathworld techniques," one alien scientist said. "We thought they would be too dangerous." Tae-sung laughed. "Earth taught us that life can grow anywhere. You just need to understand what makes each place special." News of the success spread fast. Soon, Tae-sung was traveling across the galaxy, helping failed colonies become successful. He taught aliens how humans had learned to farm in deserts, grow food in Arctic conditions, and clean polluted land. His biggest challenge came when a gas giant's moon needed to be made livable. The atmosphere was thick and heavy, like Earth's ancient air. Other aliens said it was impossible to live there. Impossible, Ta Sung said. Earth's air used to be like this. Life changed it, one small step at a time. He brought in special Earth bacteria that could eat the harmful gases and produce oxygen. He introduced tough plants that could survive in the heady air. Slowly, the moon's atmosphere began to change. It's like watching Earth's history in fast forward, one alien observer said, watching the moon transform. But Tae Sung's most important lesson wasn't about plants or bacteria. It was about patience. On Earth, we learned that changing an environment takes time. He explained to a group of alien terraformers. You can't rush it. You have to watch, learn, and adapt. The aliens were used to quick fixes and instant solutions. The idea of waiting years for results seemed strange to them. But as they saw Tae Sung's methods work again and again, they began to understand. One day, an alien child asked Tae Sung why Earth plants were so tough. He pointed to a small flower growing through a crack in the colony's floor. See that flower? On Earth, every plant has to be tough. They fight for sunlight, for water, for space to grow. The ones that survive pass their strength to their children. The alien child looked at the flower with new respect. Like us, we're getting stronger because we're learning Earth's ways. Tae Sung nodded. Exactly. Every challenge makes you stronger if you learn from it. Back on Earth, Tae Sung started a school for alien terraformers. He taught them Earth's history, how life had survived ice ages, meteorites, and countless disasters. Earth isn't a death world, he told his students. It's a world that teaches you how to live. And now we can share those lessons with the galaxy. The aliens began calling Earth's dangerous conditions gifts instead of curses. They saw that the same things that made Earth deadly had also made it a perfect teacher for the galaxy. Maybe, Tae Sung thought as he watched his students practice Earth farming techniques, the best way to conquer the galaxy is to help it grow. Yoon Hannah stood in front of the galaxy's first human culture center on a distant planet called New Haven. 1 year ago, this building had been empty. Now, aliens of all species lined up to learn about Earth's ways. What's today's most popular class? She asked her alien assistant, who belonged to a tall, plant-like species. The concept of friendship again, the assistant replied, checking the screens. The aliens find it fascinating that humans form strong bonds, even with no biological or cultural connection. Hannah remembered when aliens first learned about human friendships. They couldn't understand why humans would share resources, help each other, or risk their lives for someone not related to them. On your Deathworld, one alien had asked, wouldn't it make more sense to compete rather than cooperate? Actually, Hannah had explained, living on a tough world taught us that we're stronger together. Humans survived Earth because we helped each other. The idea spread like wildfire through alien societies. Species that had always kept to themselves began trying Earth-style friendships. Young aliens started forming friend groups. Schools based on Earth's education system opened everywhere. One day, Hannah visited an alien school that had adopted human teaching methods. Instead of just downloading information to their students' brains, they now had group projects, creative assignments, and even recess. Our children are different now, the alien teacher told her. They solve problems in new ways. They help each other learn. They're becoming more adaptable. The biggest change came in how aliens raised their young. Many species had always protected their children from all danger. But after learning about human childhood, they began letting their young face small challenges. We watched how human children learn by trying, failing, and trying again. An alien parent explained to Hannah. Now our children are growing stronger and more confident. Even alien games change. Instead of simple puzzles with one right answer, they started playing Earth-style games that needed teamwork and creative thinking. Sports became popular, though most species played easier versions than humans did. Hannah's favorite success story was about an alien teenager who used human-style problem-solving to save his space station. When the station's computers failed, instead of waiting for the proper authorities, he gathered his friends and worked out a solution. "I ask myself what humans would do," the teenager said in an interview. "They wouldn't give up just because the normal solution didn't work." The galaxy's business world changed too. Alien companies started using human-style teamwork and innovation. They learned that having different viewpoints in a group led to better ideas, just like humans had always known. One day, Hannah received a special message. A group of alien species that had been fighting for centuries wanted to try Earth's way of making peace. "We watched how humans turn enemies into friends," their message said. "We want to learn how to do that too." Hannah worked with Park Doohan to set up peace talks. They used human methods, shared meals, cultural exchanges, and most importantly, letting the young from both sides meet and become friends. It worked. The ancient enemies signed a peace treaty, and their young people started building friendships across old borders. "Human culture is like a powerful medicine," one alien leader said during the peace ceremony. "It teaches us to be stronger by working together, not fighting each other." Back at the cultural center, Hannah watched aliens from different species talking and laughing together in the cafeteria. Some shared food, carefully adjusted for their biology. Others played Earth board games, and a few practiced human-style art. "When we first met humans," her assistant said, "we thought Earth's harsh conditions had made you dangerous. Now we see they'd made you wise." Hannah smiled. "Sometimes the hardest teacher gives the best lessons," she said, watching as more aliens entered the center, eager to learn Earth's ways. "And Earth has been teaching humans since we first appeared." Park Doohan stood at the window of his space station office, watching ships from 100 different worlds dock and depart. 10 years ago, none of this existed. Now, Earth's trading station was the busiest in the galaxy. Another record day, his alien economic advisor said, looking at the numbers floating in the air. "It seems everyone wants to trade with Earth now." Doohan nodded. Earth's rise as an economic power had surprised everyone, especially the aliens. They had expected humans to be good at making weapons or survival gear. Instead, humans changed how the entire galaxy thought about business. It started with recycling. On Earth, humans had learned to reuse everything because their resources were limited. When aliens saw how humans turned trash into valuable materials, they were amazed. "You mean you don't throw anything away?" an alien business leader had asked during the first trade meeting. "We can't afford to," Doohan had explained. "Earth taught us to be careful with what we have." Soon, Earth's recycling technology spread across the galaxy. Planets that had been drowning in waste learned to turn their garbage into wealth. Space stations that always needed new materials found ways to reuse what they had. But that was just the beginning. Humans also brought new ideas about how to run businesses. Alien companies had always been very strict, with rigid rules and fixed ways of doing things. Human companies were different. "Your businesses adapt so quickly," an alien investor said to Doohan. "When problems come up, you change your plans. When opportunities appear, you try new things." Doohan explained that living on Earth had taught humans to be flexible. "If something doesn't work, we try something else. We can't afford to stick to failed plans when our world is so challenging." The aliens learned fast. They started copying Earth's business methods. Companies that used human-style management grew faster than old-style ones. Workers were happier too, because they could share their ideas and solve problems their own way. Earth's biggest impact came from something simple: trading with everyone, not just the powerful worlds. Humans would deal with any species that had something interesting to offer, no matter how small their planet was. "Every world has something valuable," Doohan told the Galactic Trade Council. "Sometimes you just have to look harder to find it." Small worlds that other species had ignored became important trading partners. A tiny planet that could only grow one kind of fruit became famous when humans turned that fruit into a popular drink. A poor mining colony became rich when humans showed them how to turn their waste rock into building materials. One day, a group of alien traders came to Duhan with a problem. Their star was dying, and their people needed to move to a new world, but they couldn't afford to buy a planet in the good parts of the galaxy. Duhan fought like a human. He helped them find a tough planet that other species didn't want. Then he brought in Kang Tae-sung to teach them how to make it livable, using Earth's terraforming methods. The aliens not only survived but built a successful trading post on their new world. Earth's greatest export isn't goods, an alien economist wrote in a famous report. It's ideas. Humans show us how to make the best of what we have. Back in his office, Duhan looked at the latest trade reports. Earth products were popular, but Earth's business methods were spreading even faster. Across the galaxy, companies were learning to recycle, adapt, and find value in unexpected places. We thought Earth's harsh conditions were a weakness, his advisor said, but they taught you lessons the galaxy needed to learn. Duhan smiled, watching another ship dock at the station. That's the thing about living on a tough world, he said. You learn that problems often carry their own solutions, if you're clever enough to find them. 20 years after first contact, Park Duhan stood in the Great Hall of the Galactic Council. Behind him sat Earth's team. Lee Jinwoo, whose food had changed alien cultures. Kim Hairi, who gave aliens the gift of human healing. Kang Tae-sung, who taught the galaxy to grow. And Yoon Hana, who helped aliens understand human ways. We are here, the council leader announced, to recognize Earth as the newest member of the High Council. Duhan remembered that first meeting, when aliens thought Earth was too dangerous to join galactic society. Now, they were inviting Earth to help lead it. Looking back, the council leader continued, "We made a mistake. We saw Earth as a death world that created dangerous creatures. Instead, it was a teacher that created innovative problem solvers." The Great Hall was filled with aliens from every corner of the galaxy. Many wore clothes inspired by human fashion. Some enjoyed carefully modified human foods. Others used tablets and phones based on Earth designs. Humans taught us new ways to think, the leader said. They showed us how to turn problems into opportunities. They proved that the hardest conditions create the best solutions. Jinwoo smiled as he watched alien children share their lunchboxes, mixing foods from different worlds. Hairi nodded to a group of alien doctors who used human-inspired methods to heal the sick. Tae-sung waved to his former students, now teaching others how to make dead worlds live again. Hana watched alien families sitting together, showing the friendship and cooperation they had learned from humans. Some species that once fought were now close allies, their children playing together in Earth-style schools. But Earth's greatest gift wasn't their technology or methods, the council leader said. It was hope. Humans showed us that any problem can be solved if we work together and think creatively. Duhan thought about how much had changed. Aliens no longer feared Earth's gravity, bacteria, or weather. Instead, they studied how these challenges had shaped humanity. Some even visited Earth as tourists, wearing protective suits to experience the death world that had taught humans so much. The galaxy faced many problems when we met humans, the leader continued. Dying worlds, failing colonies, resource shortages, ancient conflicts. We tried to solve these problems with force or fancy technology. But humans showed us better ways. He listed Earth's contributions, recycling that saved resources, farming that could work anywhere, medicine that helped bodies heal themselves, businesses that found value in unexpected places, and cultures that turned strangers into friends. Earth conquered the galaxy, the leader said, not with weapons or armies, but with ideas. They didn't force us to change. They showed us how to change ourselves. A young alien raised her hand. But if Earth is so dangerous, why did you become so strong instead of dying out? Duhan stepped forward to answer. He had answered this question many times, but it was important to say it again. Because Earth taught us the most important lesson of all, he said. When life is hard, you have three choices. You can give up, you can fight everything, or you can learn, adapt, and find new ways to solve problems. He looked at his team, each of them a teacher who had helped spread Earth's lessons. We chose to learn, to adapt, to solve problems, and now we can help others do the same. The council leader raised his four hands for quiet. Today, we don't just welcome Earth to the High Council. We thank them. They showed us that what we thought was a curse, their Deathworld, was actually a gift. Earth's harsh conditions created exactly what the galaxy needed. People who could teach us how to be stronger, smarter, and better. As the hall filled with applause, Duhan and his team stood proudly. They had done what no one thought possible. They had conquered the galaxy without firing a shot. They had done it by sharing Earth's greatest resource. The lessons learned from living on a world that had always challenged them to be better. Earth isn't just our home, Duhan thought as he looked at the celebrating crowd. It's our teacher, and now its lessons will help the whole galaxy grow.